Hey, what's up, and welcome back to A-Aron Reacts. Super excited to be doing another Juan Gabriel, and this time with Marc Anthony. You suggested this to me, so here we are. And this is Yo Te Recuerdo, right? And I had previously done Juan Gabriel Hasta que te conocí, and I'd also done Marc Anthony immediately following that. And many of you talked about, holy cow, you're headed down a rabbit hole, and I could see that with the very first one I'd done with Juan Gabriel. I'm definitely looking forward to this. As I mentioned to you before, I do speak Spanish, so I don't need to pull up the lyrics in English, but I have them here because sometimes, especially with songs, right, kind of the poetic interpretation kind of gives me different perspective and so forth. And you know what? I'm a little rusty with my Spanish these days, to be honest with you, and so occasionally there are some words that I don't see or understand anyway. So it can be helpful. So I have both English and Spanish if we need it. And let's dive right in. This is Juan Gabriel featuring Marc Anthony, Yo Te Recuerdo, which is I Remember You.
Sabes, amor, yo nunca te he olvidado.
Mm.
Te recuerdo en cada estrella siempre que aparece. Sabes, amor, siempre te he recordado. Y te miro en cada flor que el colibrí se ofrece. Sabes, amor, yo siempre te he encontrado en cada malva que florece y en cada pájaro que canta cuando amanece y anochece. Yo te recuerdo cuando las hojas bailan. Cuando el aire no las mece, cuando la noche es blanca, cuando a las 7 se oscurece, cuando la lluvia cae, cuando desaparece. Cuando la luna sale y cuando el sol se ve, que yo te recuerdo. Ahí, yo te recuerdo. Yo siempre estoy pensando en ti, aunque dicen que recordar es morir un poco así. Que vivir es el pensamiento, te veo, te escucho, te abrazo y siento que no has partido tú, que aún estás aquí. Yo te recuerdo. Estoy pensando que te acercas, me abrazas, me besas, se va mi tristeza, ver que me amas y a ver que me haces muy feliz. Aunque de tanto y tanto pensar, yo voy a parar en loco sí. Cuando amanece y anochece, yo te recuerdo.
Wow. Okay, so I had to go back. I cut, if you couldn't tell, because I went back and found this spot. And I wanted to start here before I get into some of just kind of overall impressions. For starters, here we get into just a beautiful harmony, right? And let me just take this moment while I'm talking about that. It is apparent how much respect they have for one another. Right from the get-go, they're kind of holding arms, they're embracing the way they're interacting with each other. That's not just stage show and stage presence, although they both have that in spades. There's clearly a ton of respect for one another. That is evident. But yeah, this harmony sounds incredible. And then the main reason I wanted to go back here, and when I went back to listen to it, I said, oh yeah, the harmony's here too, so let's cover that because I did want to talk about the harmony. But anyway, immediately after, you see the orchestra, and then you see this giant smile by one of the players there. And I think that's very indicative. Imagine being in this orchestra, right? You're accompanying these guys and you're hearing this, right? And now granted, it sounds like a studio recording, and you know the film behind it, they've made it into a music video, so they might be hearing it in their ears. Not sure if they're seeing it live. It's hard to tell. You know, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, or sometimes they're doing it just to show and demonstrate it, or a retake. Either way, it doesn't matter. How could you not be just completely pleased, right?
Cuando desaparece, cuando la luna
Right
sale
here.
y
Yeah,
cuando el sol.
let's pause on that. Look at that look right there. Right? And so you see, you know, that violin player right up front, and then in next to him in the right, he's also kind of smirking. But the one right here in front is obviously thrilled. Like, just this is incredible. I can't believe I'm actually, you know, performing to this, right? Um, wow, I gotta say this was special. I mean, I love both of these guys, and you know, this is only the second time I'm hearing Juan Gabriel. And you know, it's clear he's worthy of the accolades and the respect and the response I got from the first video I did, and how incredible he is. And it does look like it's a rabbit hole, so I definitely look forward to going down it, because why not? Right? Why not? And I love Marc Anthony. I have for many years. And so this duet is fantastic. We already saw a little bit about the you know, the harmony, the duet together. But you know, let me also say that you know, the stage presence and their performing, like they're both performers. And at one point towards the early beginning, I was thinking to myself, wow, Juan Gabriel is such a performer with what he was doing. But then you see it from Marc Anthony as well, and they're both very comfortable. And I also love that they're both taking a step back when the other's singing and performing, right? You see Juan Gabriel when he's performing very lively, right? Vivacious, active with his gestures, his emotions. And then when Marc Anthony's singing, he kind of just takes a step back and just kind of looks at him and lets Marc Anthony be the show person, and vice versa. Right? Marc Anthony sits back. Now, Marc is kind of grooving at several points, and Juan does a little bit later too. So you have this going back and forth, but they are just vibing and just, I mean, they sound fantastic together, and that's no surprise to me. It's a beautiful thing to hear it, but I'm not surprised. I didn't think about this aspect. So what's really cool for me is just the amount of mutual respect they clearly have for one another. They're both, you know, world-class talent, right? Generational, exceptional in their own rights. And the other thing I just almost forgot to talk about, when that switched from more of a ballad almost to a salsa, I did not expect that. It was a beautiful segue. It was just lovely. Okay, so yeah, here we are. So the original sound of this, I would have been completely content if they had just played that all the way through. It sounded beautiful. It was awesome, right? But then they add in this twist to instantly go into a salsa, which is like a super long intro. I see I'm at 49 seconds into the song here. And probably when it occurs, it's maybe 55 or so. So almost a minute. So it's not your typical salsa where they might have a, you know, 8 or 16 or 32 bar count as an intro, and then they dive into it. Here they've got kind of two sections of it, and then they dive into it. I want to listen to that again.
Te miro en cada flor que el colibrí se ofrece. Sabes, amor, yo siempre te he encontrado en cada malva que florece y en cada pájaro.
And the band is tight. Although what's interesting is my ears don't hear what I'm seeing in terms of the orchestra, right? I'm hearing more the traditional Latin, group with, a heavy horn section, and here they're showcasing a full string, section. So I don't know what's going on with that. It doesn't sound like the full orchestra sound, unless they've completely played with the volumes here. But nevertheless, this was just fantastic, and so glad I did this. Again, not at all surprised, very impressed as I guess I expected to be. They definitely delivered. So, look, if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, what the heck are you waiting for? Just hit it. It takes a quick second, and most of you haven't. And thank you much. We will see you in the next one.